funny little story time before we start for the night, I suppose, is so I had to help my family recently with getting shit out of the basement and getting it into a dumpster. And there was a lot of shit. Let me say that right now. There was a lot of shit, and a lot of it has been down there for a long time. Hi, Isley. But we did get to one moment though where we started running out of space, and I'm just sitting here like, yo, why are we just throwing the desks into the dumpster wholesale? Why aren't we breaking them down? My father's like, oh well, they're really hard to break down and blah blah blah. I'm just like, okay, fucking hold on a second. I look at the desk for a second. I'm like, all right, that's the weak spot. I just fucking punt it as hard as possible. Proceed to fucking shatter the thing, and snap off all the pieces and throw it in the dumpster. He's just looking at me like, what the fuck? I'm like, steel toe boot. B, have you seen the size of my calves?
Right.
But
Large.
large.
I
Yeah.
think it was more the question of like, why'd you immediately jump to doing it like this? Even though, admittedly, I feel that's how most of us would have done it.
Yes. And then there was another point where we were moving a very old TV stand from like back in 2002. We were moving that into the dumpster, and it was heavy as shit. I'm like, there's no fucking way we're getting this up the cellar stairs, right? Because we have a cellar as well.
Mm.
I'm like, there's no way we're getting these up the cellar stairs. And he's like, oh, well, I mean, I guess I could get a saw and cut it. I'm like, no, fuck that shit. So we get a crowbar, and I just ripped the top off because that was nailed down. And then I just proceed to just freaking grab the sides of the walls, start shaking it a bit, and then rip off the walls of the stand. And my father's just sitting there like, okay, Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
Mm.
So I got to work out some anger issues. It
Yeah,
was
I'm
a good thing all
sure that was
around.
very cathartic.
Yes. Um, but so yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened the past couple of days. That's what I've been doing. Is ripping shit and breaking it. And then I also got to pile drive a bunch of drawers into the ground because you know how a drawer is and how it's constructed. And I was just like, well, if I pile drive this into the ground on the angle of its corner, I'll just use physics to snap the drawer in half and then just collect the pieces from there. And yeah, that's pretty much how it worked. And then I did encounter one table I couldn't break with my bare hands or my boot. So I grabbed the sledgehammer.
Of course you did.
Nothing.
I did that fucking running forward slam with it because I was like fucking around at this point. And yeah, it worked really well. I have never seen in my life wood shatter that way from being hit. It looked like I had just set off a claymore into it.
Excellent.
I see Arn's pipe bomb arrived in the wrong place, arrived in the desk.
Oops. Yeah. We have to reroute it next time.
Open up your gaming desk and there's just a pipe bomb.
Just get a Discord message, open your desk. There's a pipe bomb.
You have
when did that?
You have 3 minutes.
I mean,
Run.
I mean, at that point, you just close the desk drawer and just like throw the whole
Consider
desk drawer out
life.
the window.
I mean, that works too.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, I don't have any stories, any fan fiction stories tonight, but we do have Stannis here, so he can provide running commentary. And we do have Alvor, who is currently puking, I guess, and he'll be able to contribute noises, I suppose. So, I don't know. Let's
Just
get
stop
to...
puking.
Oh, you just stopped puking?
No, I said just
Oh,
stop.
just stop
Easy.
puking. I see.
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel about Song of Ice and Fire?
Excellent.
Andy's
I
gone.
think he likes
No,
it.
he's back.
Fucking a Song of Ice and Fire fix, okay? Fuck you.
Oh god, you know what we actually haven't done in a while? We haven't done any Naruto stories in a while.
That's painful.
Super
Actually,
Potato
in news,
says
I started
31%?
reading I started reading some worm stuff.
Oh,
and,
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
My condolences.
it's pretty good what I'm reading right now, but
Yeah. Is
yeah,
it like
it's
have you
I
read
think it's
Worm
on
before,
SB.
or are you just reading
I've
the fan
read
fiction?
at like random times, bits
Uh-huh.
and pieces.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's a worm transform. Basically,
Oh, I think I know the fic you're talking about already.
the one that's on SB, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't like Taylor and Panacea as a ship in general.
I generally hate it because Panacea is a bitch who literally threatened to give, and I believe at one point did in canon, give someone cancer, because they pissed her off.
That's pretty funny, honestly. To me.
Oh no, it's
Yeah, it's kinda
hilarious.
It's like okay, but I understand what you're saying. Like
yeah, like she's
that's a
hilarious.
cunty thing to do.
Yeah, she's hilarious, and I think her character is in general pretty in line with Worm and her upbringing. But the problem is that the fan base makes her this like, oh, woe is me, I am but a wee child adrift in a sea of hostility.
I mean,
The hell did I come back to?
I think it's easy because of
Amy.
how
Sea
bad
of hostility.
her what's her name is Brandish is.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair, but it's at the
I think
same
it's
time.
just easy. You know what I mean? It's like how like early Naruto basically. It's very easy to demonize certain characters because like they're really annoying.
Yeah, that's fair and all, but
I do want to jump in and remind everyone that when Panacea went to the birdcage and she and her father met, she clicked with him just like that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that was Wildbow unintentionally doing nature over nurture. But
to be fair, I actually do highly agree with Wildbow in nature over nurture. I very much do not believe in the idea of the blank slate.
I'm like 60-40, to be honest.
I'm more like 80-20.
Okay. Here's my thing about that. Nurture does have a significant effect on personality because, and I have to go back and find the study. I'd have to go back and find the study if anybody actually wants the hard data. But they did a study of, I forget how many people it was. It was a pretty large number of people. And they found people, they specifically looked for people who gave answers that were related to essentially psychopathy.
Right.
But these were people that hadn't committed any crimes, hadn't gone on murder sprees, etc., etc. And they found that those of the 300 people that they got left who had what they were looking for, which was traits of psychopathy, but hadn't done anything or acted on any of it, they had grown up in what those individuals described as loving homes.
Right, sure, but that's not quite what we're talking about here.
No, but what I'm saying is right, you can override base components of a personality with proper upbringing, right? Because let's be clear.
No.
You're talking about people training. You're not talking about overriding. Psychopathy is a fundamental biological error with your body, and so is sociopathy. There's either damage or malformation in your hormonal, your endocrinal system, or your brain.
Yeah.
What you can do though is you can socialize sociopaths and psychopaths And remember, sociopathy and psychopathy is a spectrum. It's not
Yeah.
you
Yes,
or 0
it's a
or
spectrum, and
100%.
they're different things, right?
Yeah.
And they're brought on by different things as well. But I actually want to use a very, very good example is addiction. Addiction will affect someone's personality in a very specific way. They'll show, as we've determined, addicting behaviors. And people with addiction will all display similar personality traits because of that addictive personality they have, and that's completely inheritable. In fact, it's so inheritable that people will go out of their way in their lives to avoid the substances that they know their family has been addicted to in the past because they
There's a
know
lot
they
of
have an
people-
addicted personality.
A lot of people I know that have like family that end up as addicts just like stay away from.
Right, and that's
anything that
not a
can be,
case
like-
of nurture triumphing over nature. That's a case of someone who is self-aware, which is
Right.
completely different than being raised to not do the drug.
Now, a lot of times what's even more interesting to me is that like you'll have people who are like, yeah, I used to do crack. It's like, whoa, okay. And it's like this gym bro, and it's like he's just replaced something, and like he's addicted
Well,
to going
that's
to the gym for all intent-
that's
you know.
actually what they recommend to do when you do have an addictive personality. It's actually what
Yeah.
I did because I was very self-aware at an early age, and I noticed my entire family. I mean, both sides of my family are very, very prone
Alcoholic.
to addiction. And so I was like, well, I don't want to be addicted to alcohol. I mean, I drink now. I'm drinking right now, but this is like the only point in time of the week that I even drink. And that's just because of the shit that I have to fucking lay my eyes upon. I would rather bleach out of my fucking brain. And the only time I smoke is when I'm hanging out with my father, and we're in a cigar lounge. So
Socially is what you're trying to say.
effectively, yeah. And so
Yeah.
I'm not addicted to either of those things, but what I am addicted to is reading. And how do I know I'm addicted to reading? I've missed important stuff to read before.
Fuck, yeah.
I would
I've done
bring
that too.
books into places I shouldn't be bringing books in to read. I've done a lot of the behaviors you would typically see in someone who's addicted, but with books instead. And honestly, that's probably better than cocaine because I'm not currently living in a cardboard box.
I would just say I've
Reasonably
certainly
benign.
done things like, oh, I need to go to sleep for the important thing I have tomorrow, but I'm really enjoying this book, so I'm just gonna stay up until I finish the book.
I'm just gonna stay until 4 o'clock in the fucking morning, even though I need to wake up in an hour because I'm reading right now, and that's enjoyable.
I do that
Yes.
with fan fiction all the time, dude. Like
Yeah.
I'll find something good and then I'm stuck on it for a while.
Yeah.
And I'll do it. I'll read it throughout the day, like just doing stuff, like on my phone.
Yeah.
And it's like a real problem for like productivity in general.
But then I reflect on it and I go, well, instead of this, I could also be addicted to drinking or heroin or something instead. I'm just like, you know what? I'm glad it's not an MMO or some shit that I'm addicted to. Reading, honestly, overly harmless in the long run.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
never got into why I never tried to get into WoW, because I felt like if I went into it, I'd end up like just stuck at my computer every day, all day, playing WoW.
I mean, I certainly was, but I actually saw a video recently about this. Is that the reason why that I was, for example, on WoW all the time was because WoW was the old Discord.
Yeah, yeah.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, it basically was the old group chat combined with Ventrilo. But anyway, point being is that nature and nurture. I do agree with Wildboat on a vast majority of that argument. But I
Honestly,
wouldn't
I feel
chalk
like
up
most
too
of it's
much.
unintentional.
I wouldn't chalk up too much to his political opinions on that one because I think that's just him being a shit writer.
We'll say I find Saint kind of interesting as a character. I don't know. He seems fun to me.
Saint George?
No, Saint. The villain.
No, not Saint. Fuck, Marquis.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Marquis. I was like the Dragon Slayers, and
I was just reading a chapter where they were dealing with the Dragon Slayers, and that's what popped into my head instead of.
That's
Marquis.
fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, no, I hate the fandom depiction of Amy. It's effectively the what's a good equivalent?
she's a wooby. They depict her
Yeah, she's
like
a wooby bait. Yeah, she's a wooby bait. I'm trying to think
there's
of
kind of like Hermione. That's another character.
Yes,
that kind of
Hermione and Luna get the same treatment.
Yeah, they jerk them off real hard, and it's just like the characters are allowed to have faults. Fun,
Yeah,
actually,
it's
for
like
them to have faults.
why can't Amy just be a bitch?
Yeah,
Like,
she can both be a bitch, and we can also like her. That's okay.
Yeah, like.
I would say also, it's entirely possible for her to be a bitch and be a good person.
Well, I mean,
Also
not only
true.
that, it's possible that she's just a bitch regardless of her home life. Like,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
people
You can
are
be a
just
bad
assholes.
person. I was gonna say,
Now-
you can be a bad person and have a bad home life.
Like, to be fair, she certainly didn't have the most pleasant home life.
I
yeah,
mean, the
no,
mind
certainly not,
rape
no.
for one.
Oh, yeah,
the literally
the
constant,
constant,
omnipresent mind
yeah.
rape.
Yeah, that shit is rough.
Uh,
That's probably the most what is the word I'm looking for? Not relatable.
Sympathetic?
What's the word? Sympathetic part
Yeah.
of her character.
Yeah.
Is that
I
shit.
think there would be a problem if you found that relatable.
yeah,
You could rethink your
it's
life.
relatable.
So-
Doesn't everyone's sister brainwash them into loving them?
So you have to understand, I was raised by the CIA.
That's not an excuse. That's not an excuse.
I glow in the dark
Mm.
brighter than anyone that has ever glowed in the dark.
Fucking got neon paint on.
I'm one of the radium girls. That's how much I glow in the dark.
Oh boy.
Got that
Mm.
cadmium in your system.
Yeah.
Actually, people write Amy like people write Jon Snow.
That's very true. Yeah.
Okay, so can you explain this one for me?
So-
J-
You
Go ahead.
want to go, Stannis?
no, you're good. Go for it.
All right. So Jon Snow is kind of a whiny cunt. He
Yeah,
is a
especially for book
bastard,
one.
and his stepmother is an absolute massive bitch.
Right.
But he is raised in privilege. He is incredibly well trained. He's never gone hungry a day in his life. His adoptive father loves him.
Mhm.
Also, let's
Um,
be clear, he had it way better than most bastards.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
extremely
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Everyone who wasn't one of Oberyn Martell's childs that is a bastard in the show is treated worse than him.
Uh-huh.
There's like Edric Storm. Edric Storm was treated pretty well.
Was
but yeah.
Edric Storm the baby that got murdered?
No. Edric Storm is Robert's kid by a Florent woman. It's the woman that he fucked during Stannis' wedding.
Gotcha.
That-
And Mia Stone was actually pretty well treated, but I don't think she even knew
Yes.
she was his bastard.
No, she
Um,
knew she was his bastard. Yeah.
She did.
Yeah, like
Oh.
he was around for her early life, like her first 5 years or so. He was
Gotcha.
around actually.
All I remember of her is Caitlyn throwing some shade her way or something when she goes to the Eyrie.
Yeah, Cat throws shade at everyone. It's
Yeah.
she gives off a lot of waspy energy in the way that she just interacts with everyone. Even though, like, on some level she does mean well, but the way she speaks is just cunty at the end
Well,
of the day.
she's a stuck-up knob, and so Jon Snow, though, he has this massive chip on his shoulder.
Yep.
He has this massive "woe is me, I will never be accepted" type deal
So
going
he's a
on.
literal millennial.
Yeah, basically. And he eventually grows up, though. He does eventually grow
He
up.
does. Yeah. Book one is
And then
his
he gets
worst
stabbed
part.
to death.
Mm,
And then the next book was never written, so...
right.
Yeah, but book one is where he is basically his most, shitty in that, like, he learns a lot of hard lessons in that book about, his privilege in the world. And then later on, like, the fact that, this one's funny to me because George presents the Night's Watch as, like, this organization that's like, oh, this is where anybody can go and make it. But even in the Night's Watch, there is
hierarchy.
nepotism. Nepotism, and especially favoring of like nobles, right?
Right.
Because of course there is. Because if you can get some noble to send money to the Night's Watch or send us some like food or whatever it may be, just because their son is in an important position there, you will take that any day of the week, especially with how bad they are currently.
Another point is that noble children almost always have military training,
Right.
which
Yeah.
just genuinely makes them more valuable.
Right.
And they can
Jon
read.
Snow,
They can read.
um,
That's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what was Alistair Thorne who kind of kicks his ass for being a shit cunt and showing up the other students?
No, it's Donald Noy. Donald Noy.
Yeah.
The guy that is the guy that used to be the armorer for, or used to be the blacksmith at Storm's End.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Jon Snow kind of has a moment of he shows off and he knows he's showing off and he likes the fact he's showing off,
Right.
and this pisses off a lot of the other kids. And
Understandable. Yeah.
so he actually has some character flaws, but people in the fandom write him like he's like his life is just so bad and he has it so hard and oh my god, no.
Yeah. I honestly, I'm starting to actually see a pattern here of historical association. I guess I don't know what kind of word I would use for this. Like, over enthusiastic empathy of.
Emotional incontinence.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I
basically.
think people just like the simple way of looking at it at the end of the day.
No, it's not only that. It's they see his life and they see his attitude, and they like basically go through their life, and they're like, "Oh, he's just like me." Ah. And then
So
they
what?
kind of
It's
like,
the people on Twitter saying he's just like me for real.
yeah, and
Even though
then
it's
then
really
they
nothing
then
like
when
it.
they go and write him, it's effectively they're using this character as an outlet for their own fantasies.
Yeah.
Where they're like,
That's-
"Oh, I would never have been an asshole if my mom just said she loved me." Like, it's like, no, you probably would have been. You probably would have been a fucking total asshole even if your mommy said she loved you. Like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but some people are just assholes. Some people become assholes. Some people were just assholes from the start.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, you would know.
And to be fair
Yeah.
to George, like he writes him like that.
So
Like, this is a person that had a pretty good upbringing for his situation, and then learns and grows and takes up responsibility and kills the boy and becomes the man.
Right, and
And,
basically
you know-
he went from a kid not understanding his luck in
Lot.
life
Yeah.
he
and-
checked his privilege.
and thinking that his entire life was terrible based on what it was, and then when he actually got into the real world, he was like, "Oh shit, I actually had it pretty good."
Yeah.
Also, the Night's Watch has it better off than a lot of the peasants in the north. The Night's Watch is armed and has giant fuck off castles.
Also,
what are
the freedom to tell pretty much anyone to go get bent.
also
They generally
wildlings.
get 3 meals a day. You know, they like the general life is better as a Night's Watchman in that like you have a stable place to live, you get food every day, you have a purpose. And,
So
you know.
I want to ask you guys before we actually move on to an actual reading. What do you think is worse in terms of a killer of enjoyment to a fan fiction? A woobification of a character or a bashing of a character?
I hate bashing more.
It depends on the
Bashing,
it depends on the extremity of it. So
Yeah.
we're pretty used to like one character kind of getting jerked off just a little bit, just because that's just how fanfiction generally is.
Well,
I mean,
So
that's
I
how
think-
writing is.
Well, no,
Well, yeah,
the main
yeah.
character is the main character, and you have to make allowances for the main character doing main character things. But
But
I'm
even
talking
then,
more
like
about
the love interest, a lot of times would get jerked off just a little bit.
right
For how
I
for
mean,
how they are.
Okay, yeah, sure. But I mean more like, what would you tolerate more then? Amy being a wooby in a story, or I don't know, Ron bashing?
Bashing
Oh.
because I have the kind of personality where I've done that with people in real life before. There was one person I absolutely irrationally hated.
Oh, fair enough.
So to me it's more realistic to see from the perspective of a character bashing.
Okay, so if it's done from a character narrative perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, is it fourth year where Ron deserts Harry?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I
Fourth
said,
year and second year are his worst.
like I've said before. No, dude, he fucking straight up abandons them for Voldemort in year 7.
Yeah.
He
fourth,
doesn't.
fifth,
Whoa,
and seventh, I'd say.
Yeah, hold
He
on a
doesn't-
sec.
He doesn't abandon them for Voldemort. He just
He
abandons them.
he gives up.
Abandons them
Basically.
for family.
Yeah.
He's just like, fuck
more
this, I'm out. Fuck you, and fuck your like.
Yeah, he
Destiny
didn't go
Knight.
joined up with the Death Eaters though. That would be another level of fucked up.
Okay,
That would be
okay,
bashing.
Fair enough. Yeah.
That would be bashing.
I mean, I've seen. I
isn't-
bring that up because I've seen it a couple times in fan fictions.
I think Arthur Weasley's mother was a black.
No, he was not.
No.
The
The what?
It was someone. I think it was a granddaughter or something.
yeah,
I don't remember.
her grandmother. So, the Weasleys are also purebloods, like pure bloods.
No,
The reason why they're out of favor right now is because Arthur is considered a blood traitor. So he could probably actually join up with the Death Eaters because they are pure bloods.
yeah.
It could. It would be really out of whack. Considering, so the biggest problem with it is the last war and the effects on it. Considering that, like, the last war saw both sides of his family, like his mom's family and his dad's family, go hardcore in on against the Death Eaters. Like, his uncles died in what's her name's
The
sisters?
Pruitts, right?
Yeah, the Pruitts. So
Yep.
her two brothers die in the war. A bunch of Weasleys die, from what I remember. Like, greater clan Weasley out.
Yeah, it's just like hundreds of the fuckers. They breed like rats.
Yeah,
But-
they're Catholics and they don't use protection.
Anyway.
So, yeah, so like it would be weird for him to join up in that, like, the animosity between the two is probably be too great at that point. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure
Right.
Arthur got up to like crazy
Well-
shit against them during the war too.
What would you draw the line at for woobification and bashing then? At what point is it no longer character narrative for you? For say Amy?
When it becomes so for bashing, it's when it becomes like plain and obvious. Like, if you don't like a character and you write them a little bit less favorably than the story, that's not the issue, right? It's when like everybody in the narrative starts to hate that character in out of character ways.
That's
So,
your
like,
line?
So normal people who would like agree with that character on something, then hating that character would make it weird. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm a bad guy and I also like generally like other bad guys, right? Let's just say this.
Sure.
But this guy, I hate him. Even though I like all of the traits that he has and I normally would team up with him for whatever reason,
Right.
I hate him.
My author hates him, so I also hate him.
Right.
Yes, that's literally it. Yeah.
All right.
So in other words, all the fucking
let's
hate
get
fics
started
that
on
he's-
Naruto then tonight.
Oh God.
Ah, yes, an excellent source of hate fics.
Exactly.
Yeah. Naruto is so bad about it.
Speaking
dude.
of which,
Pain.
here we go. Monster. New danger is on the horizon for the shinobi world. Naruto, now a celebrated war hero, finds himself at the front of the fight. But on which side is he?
Well, I'm
What?
going to go ahead and guess that
What?
there's a little bit of betrayal going on in this story.
Oh, not a
Love,
betrayal.
heartache,
Ooh.
happiness, and despair, the growing pains of becoming a man have molded, shaped, and brought forth a new Naruto.
So he's going through puberty finally.
Chapters 44, about, 8K words per chapter? So, 'cause
That's
it's
not actually bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
it's
things
like
considered.
340K words, so I mean, yeah, it's not bad. But you know what is bad? This is the Naruto section. This story has been ongoing for 5 years. It has 200 favorites.
Oh,
That's
Oof,
rough.
Yeah.
That,
you
So
hate
that
to
could
see
be-
it.
That could be either really great or horrible.
yeah.
That's usually how that goes. Like, it's either an underrated classic of a story that needs some love, or it is the dog shit of dog
I'm
shit.
going to take a wild guess and say it's the dog shit of dog shit because this is straight up power fantasy Naruto. This is post Naruto the Last Naruto. This is post Naruto strong enough to cut a fucking moon in half Naruto. This is like peak power fantasy for anyone to write a story with.
The only version of Naruto that like that version of Naruto that I like to read is usually crossover stuff. Because I don't feel like there's a lot of interesting stuff that you can do in Naruto's universe, at least for most writers, at least.
It's why I like reading crossover stories with Fate Stay Night, because Shiro in the Fate world is kind of boring. We kind of know his inevitable fate. That was kind of the whole point of Fate Stay Night. You know, and even if he goes Heaven's, even the true ending of Heaven's Feel isn't all that great. And what's the other ending? Unlimited Blade Works, Fate, and
Heaven's Feel.
Heaven's Feel.
Yeah.
Unlimited Blade Works is also the true ending of that's not. It's decent, but not fantastic. But even that just ends with Shiro going on to becoming an enforcer of the Clock Tower as Rin studies under Zelrich, and basically the story just cycles again. So there's not really a lot to get there in terms of a narrative sense of satisfaction of like, oh wow, he goes and fights an ancestor and loses because they're an ancestor and he's a human. Ooh. But putting him into a crossover world, like, you know, fucking hell, even DxD is actually great, but, you know, Don Machi works great as well.
There was
That's the first time I've ever heard someone say DxD is great on this podcast.
Well, no, it's actually great because a lot of the swords that exist in Fate also exist in DxD, but they're nothing like the swords that existed in Fate. And so when Shiro shows up, it is like, you know, Caliber, and everyone's like, yo, what the fuck? That's why I like reading crossovers for.
The last crossover I really liked was a Worm crossover too.
Yeah.
For Naruto, and it was that Naruto. It was split into two stories. It was a Naruto. Both of them.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Whirlpool.
Naruto
arrives at Leviathan.
Yes.
And then there's a Sasuke focused one.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh god.
Against Slaughterhouse 9.
Yeah, that one was less interesting for me because
the Slaughterhouse 9 one was way less interesting, but the Naruto one against Leviathan.
Yeah, it was post Naruto the Last, as far as I'm aware. Shows up.
I think so. It was either Naruto the Last or post the war. You know.
Yeah, but still.
So he's OP as fuck.
Yeah, absolutely beyond OP as fuck. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Either way,
he had the Renegon.
Yeah. So yeah, he fucks on stuff, you know, and I can enjoy that.
Yeah,
in the right context.
It's definitely stuff I can enjoy for that because it's definitely interesting. But typically, I don't like reading base Fate stories because there's not, unless they're starting at the start of the war, and they're gonna try and take it somewhere totally unique, which very rarely happens. It's more just a rehash of the same, you know, story beats.
Usually the problem is just that they aren't doing something interesting enough for me to care.
Well, yeah, because the problem is that Shiro actively doesn't get powerful enough to do the shit that he's known for doing until the end of the war. So he can't actually do anything to change any of the plot until the plot's already done. And even that's part of the plot.
Yeah. That's Fate for you.
All according to Kakaku. So we have a story here that's got 19 chapters, 40k words, so you know it's garbage. It's got 49 favorites, and it's been ongoing for 9 years. So, I mean, I'm just literally waving every red flag possible right now. And you'll understand why all of these factors are the way they are in a second. So the story is called Shinobi Mine. Rivaled from their childhood, Naruto and Kiba hate each other more than anything else in their own little worlds, but forcing them together for a mission could forge an awesome friendship, or maybe something more between them. This is
So,
gay sex.
first of all,
Don't
to all
like
it
the
if
writers
you
don't
out
read it.
there,
Can we not read it?
If you have preteens in your story, there shouldn't be anything above an R rating, and that
Yeah,
R rating should be
this
for
is-
violence only.
This is pretty fucked up. I mean, okay, so I will stand with fanfiction on this one. Fanfiction.net on this one. I don't think there should be sex on this website.
I just
Period.
wish they had a you have to log in to see this option.
Fade to black.
Just let me.
Well, that doesn't help.
No, there's an alternative website. It's called adultfanfiction.net. It's the exact same as fanfiction.net, but it's where you post the porn.
I did not know that existed.
Well, I'm just saying that
I was
adding
gonna
a
say, part of the
sign-in
problem is that
function
no one
doesn't
knows that that
fucking help.
website exists.
Well, that's not my
A
problem.
lot of people don't know that website exists.
Again,
We're not
There's
saying
an
it's your
alternate-
problem.
There's an alternate site, and it's called AO3.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
go
there's
there.
AO3, there's
You
questionable
slut.
I use
questing.
QQ, but okay.
There's so many other
Akun.
websites.
For my
It's-
based individuals out there, Akun.
I have no idea what that is.
Silence.
It's the same reason why I have
Fuck
those
you.
rules I have on my Discord of don't post porn here. It's because Two Idiots and Some of their Discord is not for porn. That's not related to anything we do there, so don't post it there. If you want porn, there is thousands of other Discords. There's hundreds of thousands of websites.
It's
There,
true.
you can go literally
Yeah.
anywhere else for the porn, but not here.
Come to the STM, anyone?
No.
Yeah, there you go. But I have the same philosophy for this website. This website's supposed to be a website that's supposed to be accessible for free for anyone. And because it's for anyone, that means anyone can technically read it. And what they do for this website is they have a very basic filter of it only shows stories that are K through T, and you have to manually set it to show all or mature stories. And
I
I'm
think it's a
fine
good
with
thing.
I'm fine with the filter being that basic because you have to intentionally look for it, and that's all. That is my bar. That's my bar of censorship. Is you have to intentionally look for it. And if that website wants to say in our rules you don't put porn in your story, hey, just go to a different website. It's not like fanfiction.net's the only website out there.
I think there's two different things that we're talking about.
Fucking
here.
imagine. Oh,
I
God.
find it distasteful that that someone would, just go out of their way to write Kiba Naruto smut as 13-year-olds.
Oh,
Oh, I
no.
have a
So that's a
question.
completely separate
Um,
issue. That's a police issue.
No. Do they take it so far as to involve the dog?
Probably.
Oh no!
Probably.
Oh my God.
No,
Oh,
then
why?
they
Crime dog.
Probably.
I'm not a fan of that. No.
So
If
I
it
will say
turns
this,
the
me
dog into a
personally-
person, is it still wrong? The answer is yes, people.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah. It's
Yes,
wrong,
the
yeah.
answer is wrong. I shall now get the anti-horny stick. Where is it?
Yeah.
No. You don't need the anti-horny stick. You need the anti-horny boom stick.
Oh no, the
damn it,
anti-horny stick
I
is a
was-
fucking claymore.
I was literally about to make that joke, and I was gonna cock my lever action.
So I do have to make a confession. Because of
re-
body
well,
horror,
I
gratuitous
really
violence.
want you to think very carefully about how you word the following thing, as we have just talked about pedophilia, and you just said I
Yes,
have to make a confession.
I implore you to reconsider your statement.
Because of body horror and graphic violence, I've never written a story that wasn't M.
Okay.
That wasn't mature.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
But that's not the issue. We just said like it's fine to have
Yeah, no.
M stories on the site. Our biggest issue
Just
is
talking about the filters.
My problem is the MA rating. So a mature adult is very different from mature.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same difference between I'm gonna go see an R-rated movie and I'm gonna go see an X-rated movie.
the way to have this.
Why
work
do
would
X-rated
be-
movies even exist?
Porn. They're porn.
Yeah, my point is, why wouldn't you just go for the internet for that? Like, who goes to a movie
This
theater
was
to watch it?
Do you realize how long movies existed before the internet? You actual
I'm saying, why do they
single
still
cell-
exist?
Because
Why do they-
porn.
Yeah, If you
Fair,
can make
fair.
money off it,
Because Lars von Trier wants to make his weird fucking movies about fucking weird shit, okay? That's what it is. It's just people end up making movies who are fucking weird, and
All right,
they
fair point.
Okay,
Fair point.
so
That weird
Isley,
shit.
our resident degenerate researcher, does chime in and say that in most Kiba romance stories, the dog is more involved than it isn't.
Well,
Thanks,
I
Isley.
mean,
Very
I guess as
cool.
long as it stays in text form, but it's just I have no faith that it would. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
Um,
all deserve the bullet.
I have
so
seen too much.
another thing
hurt
for
too
me is
much.
Yeah.
anything that really depicts children in a sexualized manner is something of a hot button for me. I was molested, but
Yeah, yeah.
um, but we've reached a point where we have both over sexualized children, and we've made just kids being like gross and lewd and tawdry, and it's a very unpleasant point to be in, and I do see this in some fics sometimes. Because you'll see things like Naruto's crush on Sakura
Right.
can sometimes be really over exaggerated and depicted as more of an adult romance than just
Or
a
like,
kid being
Yeah,
lonely.
yeah.
or Lee with Sakura too, which is like, it's honestly extremely cute. Like on a surface level, he's a cute dude. He's loving, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but
but
I
he's a
think
kid.
this is more of an issue. This is more of a media issue. So because the for Naruto, we're going to use this example. Naruto is a third person, omnipresent narrator perspective. So we, the audience, always know what's going on from all angles. But because of that, we have the inability to get precise information like Naruto's current thoughts unless he says them out loud, or the author specifically points out this is what Naruto is currently thinking. And because of that, well, normally, you growing up, you're being hit by hormones, you see a girl, you go, oh, that girl's cute. And then you go on with your life. To show this in a more vaster array of characters, and this is just one side character, and they only have like 10 seconds of screen time, and so they have to show that this character is teenager, interested in this other teenager. They have to do the over the top, oh, you beautiful flower, will you date with me and bring springtime forever bullshit, because the audience isn't going to be able to pick up the character subtly glancing at this other character for 5 seconds of their 10-second time they spend on screen for the next 12 episodes.
Honestly, I just thought Lee was a little autistic.
Oh no, he absolutely is, but that's not beyond the point. The point is that they do this with Naruto as well. They do this with any of the other romances that show up in Naruto. They make them very overt. They make them very, over the top, because like,
also a little bit of an anime thing.
Yeah, it's also a little bit of an anime thing, but like I said, it's part of the media. It's part of the medium itself as well.
Yeah, it's a trope in media.
But it's also because it's visual, because it's omnipresent, because we're not in said character's head and we're not hearing their thoughts. They have to make those over-exaggerated,
And then, to be fair
overtures.
to fanfiction, you having a character just like glance at someone and we can see that they're blushing, like physically, and like maybe they,
right, and the
being,
author
like,
can
shy
specifically
around them.
point out that, oh, they're
Yeah, he can
blushing, they're
focus in on
stuttering, they're
that.
focusing
Yeah.
on them, and you can get away with a lot more, because not only are we typically, for Naruto again, for example, not only are we typically following Naruto specifically, we're also usually getting his thoughts in the process as well, because in a written work you have a lot more time to just write what the character's doing and thinking. And because of that, we're able to get a lot more nuanced in how the character displays their affections. But unfortunately, because millennials and Gen Z are socially retarded by and whole, they don't understand that.
I
And
think it's a two-factor thing where like
Yeah.
we both sexualize children and then infantilize them.
Yeah.
So like they can't be mature about their crushes and stuff like that. Like kids can be at
Yeah.
times. Not to say that they all can be, but whatever.
We
And
know what
then
you
and then they over sexualize them, which is weird because it's like they're both. It's like a double whammy of it.
Well, I mean, have you seen the comments about Spy Times Family? That
Well, I mean,
Tumblr and shit
I do want to point
posted.
out.
Fucking Twitter. Yeah.
I hate
It's
Twitter,
also
I
a
hate
cultural,
Twitter, I hate
like
Twitter.
it's much more of a cultural because part of the reason that children have become over sexualized in such a weird and creepy way is that our culture has been mostly young girls, but young guys too, has been sexualizing people at a younger and younger age, right? Like the clothing that you see on teenagers in the mall now versus what you saw 30, 40 years ago, like,
Right.
is
Well,
decidedly and significantly more
and you
sexual in nature.
You
I
can
think it's
definitely
more that
chalk. Well,
there's
no,
no
you can chalk
public
that up.
shaming of that too.
Yes, there is that, but you can also
Because
chalk
people
that up.
decided. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so you can chalk that up to the fact that the proliferation of media has occurred, as the generations have progressed. Is before they kids of our parents' generation had the radio and public broadcast television. So there wasn't too many chances of them getting this, one big celebrity that dresses super slutty. But, take Gen Z, for example, and now you have kids who are 10 years old watching a 15-year-old dress like an absolute thirsty slut, and they're like, oh, that's what the popular person is doing. I need to do the popular thing. I'm going to dress like a slut.
Yeah, there's a lot of different tiers to this that end up causing the different problems we see
Right,
today.
yeah, no, there's always a lot of factors, and I'm oversimplifying it, but I also don't want to get into a 5-hour discussion about why
No,
the entirety
this
of the
would
US
be
needs to
like
purged.
Yeah, this would be a long discussion on the many different factors that make it this way. Yeah.
So, for example, we have this next story here where
Jesus,
it's
no.
a no chakra AU, and Sai runs a tattoo parlor, and Ina is thirsty for his dick. Isn't that a riveting Naruto story in which there's no chakra, Konoha doesn't exist, and Sai runs a tattoo parlor? Isn't that what you
It's
came
more
to the
interesting
Naruto
than
section
that
to
last
read?
one.
I
You
mean,
know what?
that's fair.
I'd take this one
That's
over
fair.
that last one any day.
But
Any
Actually,
day.
I do kind of like the idea of a story where chakra is either non-existent or a strictly religious affair. That might make some of the fights way more interesting, and people
Yeah,
have to think
but-
about shit.
So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
that-
idea of
that's
Sai
true,
being a
that's certainly
tattoo
true.
artist.
Too.
Except at the same time, 90% of the plot is unfortunately tied to the fact that chakra exists. Like, Naruto being Naruto is tied completely to the fact that chakra exists. His dad only got elected leader of the village because he had chakra to do some crazy-ass shit with, which only happened because he was in a war that was caused by chakra.
I suppose you could rewrite it as feuding clans in feudal Japan.
Yeah, you would literally have to go all the way back to the start and be like, feuding clan era, no fucking chakra, then completely simulate that entire history until modern day, until somehow you still end up with Kushina fucking Minato and getting a Naruto out of that. Somehow.
Question: was it ever confirmed that Minato's a Senju, or is it just a case of he's just a blonde that looks like a Senju?
He's just a blonde.
Yeah,
I really do
that's all
like
fanon.
Yeah, that's really fanon. I loved the like he's secretly Jiraiya and Tsunade's kid that they just didn't like. They gave up kind of because they were young kids who fucked around and then,
Found out.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
like that idea as a
That's
thing.
certainly
because,
more of an idea in line with what the fuck did you just link me?
Do we want to know? Do we
It's
want to
the
know?
song.
What?
It's just a song.
God damn it.
What the fuck did you
filth.
link?
Anyway,
the song.
What in the actual fuck did you
Point
leak?
being is that if you're gonna actually sit down and write a story that is so drastically AU, because don't get me wrong, I love AU stories. They're probably my favorite thing. Where the author sits down and is like, "What if this one change happened? How would everything turn out from that?" I'm down for that shit. But if you're really gonna sit down and be like, "Hell, it's a Fate-verse story, but what if magic never existed?" Like, okay, well then.
I think a funnier thing.
Why are we here then?
Nothing
A
of
more-
Fate-verse would have occurred. Shiro wouldn't even be Shiro. The fire would have never happened. The fire only happened because magic.
I think what's more interesting is when authors are like, let's like make this low level magic then. Like let's bring us down from fucking.
I mean, the problem even with that is I don't know exactly what genre you're talking about, but the problem with that
usually
is like
fantasy in that
for
case.
Naruto. I mean, I'm sorry, genre I said is incorrect. I was talking about fandom.
Okay.
You know, like Naruto, for example, the only reason why, unfortunately, this is canon Kishimoto, the only reason why almost all of the conflicts since the feudal era of the warring clans, all of them happened due to Madara causing them all, because he had some crazy ass high fantasy super magic jutsu that let him grow into the back of a tree that gave him temporary immortality. And so, because of that, all of the wars in the world and all of the bad stuff that happened in the world and all the genocides all occurred because of Madara's crazy-ass tree jutsu. And so if you're going to be like, oh, well, actually, chakra is like, you know, it just makes people barely above peak human, and, you know, the really, really good ones can throw a fireball with it, it's like, okay, well, then how does any of the plot in Naruto happen then?
Well, you just have to be a fucking nerd and remake that shit from the bottom up.
Right, but at that point, you're better off just writing your own original story instead of
I think
trying to
the whole,
retool
like-
the entire Naruto-verse. Like,
thing is
literally,
that, like,
the only
I
reason
think-
why I did that for Ruby was because someone paid me $120 to do it.
Yeah, but I think it's not that hard to just say that, like, because of geopolitics, these countries went to war with each other and fought a bunch. So,
Right,
like,
but the only
I think there's
reason-
some pretty simple ones to fix.
Right,
there.
but the only reason why, for example, the Third War ended the way it did was because Minato invented a faster-than-light jutsu and killed literally an entire deployment of the Earth Army
Yeah, just
by
say
himself.
that. Yeah, I
And-
could probably fix that.
Yeah,
I wanted
with
to.
hundreds of more casualties on both sides, probably.
Yeah, or you just say that, like, he outmaneuvered them in
Someone
some
commissioned me?
tactically
Yeah,
brilliant...
someone commissioned me. Back in the day when I only valued my words at a cent a word. I've been told that valuing myself at a cent a word is vastly undervaluing the ability to write, so it's now 5 cents a word.
Yeah, inflation really hits different.
Inflation hits
Thanks.
different, yeah.
Thanks,
Excellent.
Biden.
Excellent.
You
Now
don't
I can
even
commission
fucking-
Sneaky to write the fan fictions that I've always wanted.
I'm not
Unfortunately.
writing any gay food porn.
Huh.
You already do.
Is
don't
my
you?
name Nosehair?
That's
Hey,
fair.
fuck off. I wouldn't ask for that either.
I thought you already wrote that, like, for yourself, like your personal collection.
Do you I see that joke would maybe land more if I was a bit more egotistical or narcissistic, but I literally cannot stand the look of my own writing, and you can ask Max and Gray this, that I will rewrite the same shit, and I will spend literally days on it, because I will always hate it no matter how much I've reworked it.
Mood.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
That
totally
is why
fair.
Scarab
but-
is taking a while, besides me just not having motivation at all.
That it's a fun 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this: if there are any prospective authors out there that want to write more romance centric stories in Naruto, then I would suggest after the war, when they have that long ass period
true,
of peace
yeah.
I
before
would
the
suggest
alien
an ice
invasion.
lobotomy.
I mean,
But that's just me.
I was actually gonna go the route of I would suggest them touching grass first, maybe like actually leaving their basement, I know I'm saying this as someone who lives in a basement, but maybe leaving the basement and like getting a girlfriend first before they try and write romance, because then otherwise it just comes off as someone who's like, yeah, sex works like the guy took out his clitoris and it grew 10 feet and then he smacked the woman's V part and she got pregnant. And it's like, what the?
Everybody clapped.
And then
what
everyone
the fuck
clapped.
did I just listen to?
Yeah, that's how I've seen sex described before in fan fictions, because you can clearly tell this author has never even like.
Yeah, but that's
looked at
pretty easy
porn.
to jump. The writing level that like someone's at there, that's pretty easy to get away from.
Like, I'm not
usually.
telling someone to
Usually-
go out and lose their virginity. I'm just saying, hey, maybe like actually get into a relationship with another human being before you try and write friendship or romance stories.
Holding
Sneaky,
hands
that's
is
hard.
nice. Holding hands and cuddling is probably
Like,
the best
I
part
want to
about
put
being
like
in a relationship.
90% of AO3 to the fucking stake and burn them alive.
It's just mostly
Sneaky
kids.
becomes a Sneaky becomes a witch hunter.
And to be fair, they have
I
to
will
live with the
become
fact that they
Vlad
were
the Impaler
cringe.
the second, because Jesus fucking Christ, am I tired of going into a story and being like, oh, this is a pretty good story, and then the author's like, the boys, they touched hands, and then they looked at each other and they blushed because they secretly were best of friends, and it's like, that is not how guys do at all. Like, it's never.
Look, if two guys hold hands and blush, there's something else going on.
They're
buddy.
gay. They're not best friends.
That's called being Afghani.
I'm
True.
Like, unironically, that's the thing they do in Afghanistan is men hold hands and
I'm
walk
sure.
down the street together and shit.
Yeah. They also
There's other
forcibly
issues with,
transition people.
That's
So-
the Iranians.
Yeah, that's the
Well,
Iranians. Also, that's like
Don't
a.
smoke.
There's other issues
Is
with.
there a difference?
Yes.
Huh.
There-
No, so
there's
you're
other
thinking
issues
of the
with those
dancing
guys.
boys, the
Yeah,
Bachabazi.
yeah, the dancing
Yeah,
boys.
that's the real issue in a place like fucking.
Yeah. But anyway, so
Afghanistan.
up next we have Sakura times Kakashi.
That's just
Death
Groomer
be upon
Central,
you.
bro.
Yeah. Another Kakashi times Sakura story, and wow. Would you guys like to guess the sex of both of these authors?
female.
Female.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it,
Yeah.
I was going to say horse.
Yeah, probably. It was a really good horse. Then we got
was gonna
Sapphire
say deer.
Rose. My name is Yukino Uzumaki, and I will tell you a story. So sit down and listen to my story. It has adventure, romance, and my life as Kunoichi in New World, because this is an isekai self-insert OC.
Because of course it is. Of course it is.
Featuring OC and Itachi, which can only mean one thing, everyone.
Yoshi is fucking Itachi.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Excellent. I'm gonna
For
kill
anyone
myself.
who ever wants to write an SI in a universe with child soldiers, this is not fun. This is not nice. It is not an adventure story. It's a fucking horror story. You should
I
be
have
terrified.
some advice.
Yeah, you wake up in the Naruto world and you go, oh, fuck me sideways.
If you want a decent version of that, like, go watch Gundam IBO, because that starts with these kids are child soldiers and they launch a rebellion because they're tired of being used as cannon fodder.
That's fair.
Yes.
I will
Child
say,
soldiers. Excellent.
catching your breath. No, I don't think I remember that one. There was another one that I remember reading. And it was about a female self-insert OC, and the key part here was she woke up in the Naruto universe, being born, and she was like, "Oh shit, I'm in the Naruto universe. Oh fuck, I'm before the Fourth War. Oh shit." And then proceeded to train as hard as fucking possible with the intent of surviving the events of canon. Not even changing it. Just being like, okay, my goal here is survive.
feel like
Bird objective, survive.
I feel like
just to
if I
put
went
this
to
in
Naruto,
perspective,
I just
Gaara as a 10-year-old could kill grown-ass veterans of the Second and Third Wars.
Yeah.
You as a random schmuck are not going to do well.
Yeah. No.
And if you were a special snowflake, you're writing the story wrong.
Yeah.
well, the thing is, to be fair to some, like if you have your knowledge of Naruto and you get inserted as a child, you probably actually could, if you have the fucking wherewithal, train in ways to maximize
speaking of
what you ended up as.
speaking of child
Because-
soldiers,
Go ahead.
Oh, boy.
Naruto, protectors in the dark. Young Naruto's life changes at young age when his life is saved by two mysterious ninjas, exposing him to the world of shadows, the Anbu Black Ops. With a new path, how will the knucklehead perform? Like, straight shit, the author's just like, yeah, they casually indoctrinate Naruto into the Black Ops. It's like, okay.
But yeah, they did that with Itachi and Kakashi too.
Extremely
Yeah.
base,
Oh, well,
yeah.
that's funny you say that because Itachi and Kakashi are the ones that indoctrinated him into the Black Ops.
Yeah, it's literally just child soldiers forcibly recruiting more child soldiers.
Yeah, okay, so there's
You killed a child.
almost certainly this is like
One
this is
favorite.
the
Well
worst. Almost certainly this is the worst version of this story because there is only one good version of this story I've found to date.
Oh yeah, that
and it's-
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I sent you that one, and it is great.
This is just
Otherwise,
a circular economy at work, honestly.
yeah,
There's a
You
lot
get
of
child
people in this
soldier,
call
they grow
suddenly.
up, they recruit another child
It's like a
soldier.
giant pyramid
so
scheme
on.
of
I
children.
like
Exactly.
the idea.
soldiers.
I don't know what fic I found this in, but I like the idea of certain. I think it was certain. What do you
No.
call it? Villages looking at Konoha and being like, "You guys are fucked up for the prodigies thing." Like, specifically the prodigies, like Itachi and Kakashi
Yeah.
and Minato. Like those. That's the thing that like scares them the most. The ability to produce very young, very like fucking. What do you call it? Like very dangerous ninja.
Oh, it might be catching your breath, Isley. We might be talking about the same one. Was she a medic in that one? No,
That's
yeah.
actually a pretty good way to AU the world. I
Yeah.
like the I like what there's
Okay, what's catching your breath then?
one of my favorite AUs is like Rin lives basically.
Rin lived. I mean, that's fair enough. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, there's not a lot that you can really do branching off of that. Because it doesn't
Well,
actually.
you get a different demon carrier first off, just tailed beast carrier.
I
But
mean-
also that means like Kakashi isn't nearly as damaged. Obito isn't nearly as damaged, although you could probably play with that and make him damaged in other ways.
I mean, the problem there is that Obito is still going insane. So even if Rin lives, he might not know that
That's fair. Yeah, that's totally fair.
because
At least initially.
unless the events surrounding her supposed death, which, by the way, again, Madara orchestrated specifically to turn Obito. So, unless those events, pan out differently, where it's like Kakashi stabs her, she looks like she's dying, Obito sees that, and he's like, oh my god, Rin's dead, then he runs away, and then Kakashi's like, oh, thank god I, used my Sharingan on Rin that one time she healed me, and then he, like, badly heals her and then rushes her to Konoha for actual healing, and then she lives. Unless you're, like, completely discarding that entire scenario where she gets turned into the Two Tails and then Kakashi stabs her.
But yes.
It's gonna be pretty much not
think
deviating anything.
You'd have to have someone else show up, like someone like Minato show up for it.
Which also, he has instantaneous teleportation. Why couldn't he help?
It's weird to me, but for some reason, Kakashi like doesn't have a tag on him that Minato can just show up at.
So plot holes.
I think it was explained out as the fact that Minato was busy on his own mission or something.
Yeah, you could just have it be that he wasn't busy on his own mission.
Yeah,
AU butterfly
he,
bullshit.
he finished it early or some shit. And again, like I
Yeah.
said, like unless you're doing that very specific circumstance where she survives anyway and long enough for Kakashi to get her to healing, Obito would still see her dying. But
Yeah.
if that
They'll have
scenario
that
doesn't
spiral
happen
out.
in its entirety, then like Obito would see her alive, but would eventually be convinced by Madara anyway.
I think
Like,
an interesting thing you could do with that is then say, okay, she does survive. Obito does get, still gets like pulled more directly under Madara's sway, trains more. That path stays the same. But the more interesting stuff is what happens in Konoha post this, because Rin lives.
what would Rin change?
You could have her. The interesting thing to me would be like have her be one of the Jonin Sensei.
Okay,
and then
maybe.
fuck
Yeah.
around from there. Also, her being there to train Naruto might be interesting.
That has a potential, but again,
Yeah.
it doesn't really deviate from canon's rails too much in terms of plot events that would happen, because again, 90% of the conflicts were unfortunately planned by Madara from the start, and so they would still
Also true,
happen
yeah.
anyway. Like here we go, we got this shit, like Naruto time travel fic. What if instead of giving him powers, the S06P?
Sage of Six Paths?
Ah, yes. What the bro, you're nowhere near the word count cap for your summary. Why can't you just fucking write Sage of Six Paths? What the Okay.
Because writing is hard.
Long. You know what?
Oh.
To be fair, I hate how long certain names are. And
Oh no, I fully agree, but unfortunately that's how canon is. So, I mean, you could
Yeah.
just say Sage.
Well,
So Sage,
that
capitalize
sounds weird too.
capitalize Sage. The
I
Sage.
would either go with that or go with
His
the
name?
like full name. Yeah,
Yeah.
the full name.
Sent Naruto back in time to fix everything and change the fate of the world. Will he succeed, or does he change things for the worstish? Naruto times Ino adventure romance story.
No, I think that's Naru in O, actually.
Naruto. Yeah, Naruto
Yeah.
times Ino. Yeah, that's the abbreviation for Naruto times Ino.
Yeah, I know.
This is in the Ruby section. They don't have like very
Separate
snowflake.
I hate those
this,
names.
like this isn't the spotted teacup ship. You know.
I fucking hate. They are so Tumblr. Like it is the most Tumblr thing I've ever seen. Is like the names for those ships. Like they
Oh
make me
yeah,
wanna
this is
throw up.
this is the Ren times Pyrrha ship. Oh, what's that called? The Calm Spartan.
That's awful. They're all bad.
The Sun Tzu's victory.
They're all bad. All of them.
No.
Sun's victory is actually kind of a cool name for
So which
something.
ship name is just the eugenics?
That would probably be let's see, Weiss times let's see here. Who else is a noble in the story?
Would Weiss and Pyrrha be white power?
Probably.
that's pretty great. That's
Probably.
pretty great.
Yeah, that'd be pretty. That's pretty funny.
Oh, that's so funny. We should remake all of the names and give them all the real stupid flags that people have for them, and then like just start posting them on Tumblr.
You know,
that'd be funny.
Super Potatoes actually has a very good point. The names of Ruby ships fit Ruby because it's basically been written by Tumblr.
That's
and
also true.
he isn't wrong.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now that Tumblr's like a graveyard, it's been written by Twitter.
I mean, you just said Tumblr twice.
Yeah, you just said Tumblr twice, dude.
God, I miss the
Yeah.
old days when Twitter wasn't inhabited by them.
Them.
They said.
They said on Twitter. Oh no.
They said.
I want everyone now to tweet out on Twitter. They said, offer no explanation.
With
They
with
said-
the parenthetical marks.
No,
I'm
no,
glad
just,
that I
just,
started
just
this.
they said.
They said.
They said.
They said
They're in my walls, guys. They're in my walls.
them.
Use rat poison.
I can see them glowing.
I remember watching Ruby
Yeah.
and getting seriously pissed off at the bullheads, the giant slow helicopter motherfuckers.
Yeah. The VTOLs, yeah.
They just made me unreasonably angry, and
That's
also
fair.
the fact that there's these guys with assault rifles that get like one tapped and their guns do absolutely fuck all, and I'm just like,
Yeah, you see,
fuck?
in Ruby, their guns are only as effective as the narrative is. And you'll go from, like, some people will shoot their gun at a Grim and not kill it, and then in a different episode, they'll shoot their gun at the same Grim and they will kill it. And that's because they just needed that Grim to die before the real action could begin. You see?
They just really have shit luck with die rolls, and they keep rolling
Yeah, they just
low
have
on
really
wound
bad
rolls.
dice rolls, yeah.
It's fucking Paradox, man. They gotta make a new combat system.
God damn it, Timer! I didn't touch anything, you bastard!
Alright,
Hey,
that's
Sneaky.
one for the bingo card.
There
Hey,
it
Steve,
is.
does the stream start in 3 minutes?
Yeah, this stream starts in 3 minutes, guys. I can't believe I've lied to you for so long.
Yeah.
Hi, Tojo.
Hi, I got here like 5 minutes ago, I think.
Yeah, I mean, now that we're all here, let's go read this one. Cybernetic Compassion. Genki was simple thief who would become Kara's worst nightmare, but his mission ripped them apart into conflict with cyborgs. Next chapter will be 900 words long. Romance, sci-fi, a Naruto story.
Okay, but why though?
Fuck
I
are
do
these
That
That
just
characters, though?
sounds awful though. Like it. I like it when
Yes.
when the author can actually write.
Well,
some
according to
level?
these stats, one review, 5 favorites, ongoing for the past year. It looks like the fandom agrees with you.
Damn,
Good.
10k words over 9 chapters. It's kind of disappointing. Not gonna
That
lie.
is really bad,
It's fucking
usually.
terrible.
The thing is that like, actually, it could be okay if the word count and chapter thing that could be okay actually.
Oh, okay. I didn't read it.
The bigger
Go ahead.
issue is the faves and follows.
Go
Fuck
ahead,
off.
idiot.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shut the fuck
What
up.
are you gonna do, buddy?
Prove us
I
wrong.
said the bigger issue was something else, dumb fuck.
Maybe you're
My
the bigger
first
issue.
love. This is a Sasuke times Naruto AU set before Boruto.
Tojo, they should
Oh,
have dropped
good.
bombs.
I
but-
More mind
dude,
rich.
how does that work? This is a Sasuke times Naruto AU set before the story where Naruto's fucking love child occurs.
Look, Fujos always find a way for children to come out of same-sex relationships.
Boruto's obviously an impreg
Do we
baby of Naruto
even
and
need to
Sasuke.
mention clams?
Obviously,
I
wait,
will-
wait, wait. Obviously,
Yeah.
Hinata is so cucked
Yeah.
that she that she was the donor for
She
them.
was the egg donor, okay.
that would be like that is actually I want to see that now, like that
Hinata,
story because it's
I
so
want to
funny.
fertilize your eggs. What? Naruto? Because Sasuke and I are in love.
Dude, we want you to be our donor. It's just a really sad
Hold on.
story.
I gotta get the right image for this. Hold on.
That sounds so
Oh,
sad.
that's really fucking. I love that they're like, yeah, Bordo plot's still going to occur, guys, and it's like, how the fuck?
Yeah, and then a couple years later, he's like, "Yeah, we want another kid. You gotta pump us out another kid."
This one's gonna be
Himawari.
named Sarada.
No, Himawari. And then they go to fucking Sakura.
Sakura, I want to have your child because I really love Naruto and we can't do that. I mean,
Oh,
That
man.
honestly,
sounds like an amazing crack fic. I'm not joking.
Actually,
here.
honestly though, like Naruto is the one fic that the one fandom that I actually don't support. Actually, I correct that, but you know, I'm being Twitch positive here. Okay, it's the one fandom where I don't support Naruto being like gay in because he can
Oh,
turn
fuck.
into a girl.
Oh god. Cancelled.
He can.
So wait, what do you mean? Sorry. You mean that it's the one place you do, or the one place you don't like it?
It's the one place that I'm like, well, but he can turn into a girl.
Is that gay though?
Is it gay to
I'm
fuck a
hesi- I'm
dude
hesi-
that's turned into a
hesitant to
girl?
say
Is it
anything.
gay to fuck a dude that's currently a girl? I don't know,
I think
man.
this has been debated hotly already,
I
guys.
think this is a current,
Yeah.
this might be a
I thought he
current
would-
hot debate.
This isn't.
One moment, I shall check the archives of the autistic Mongolian
we
screaming
need to check
forum.
we need to check the codex on this one. What does the codex
Lo, the
Militarum
greybeards
say?
have long debated this.
Hold on, let me check. Give me a second.
If
That's-
Naruto can turn
many
into a girl, does
shitposts
it really
have
need
been-
Hinata for a child? That's what I'm saying though. It's like if Naruto wants to have a gay
Well, then does-
relationship and then
well, then
wants
does
to
he
have a
see
kid
it?
anyway, does he?
Oh, wait.
Can he just turn into a girl?
Do we
Well,
know if
then-
he has a
well-
uterus though?
Well,
That's the
no,
real
hold on.
question.
This is a physical transformation.
Or is it a
But
fucking
how-
illusion though?
No,
It's
No, it's a
physical,
physical
Jojo.
transformation. It is a physical transformation.
Naruto's sexy jutsu is specifically outlined as a physical transformation because he actually, in the first arc, uses it to turn into an actual shuriken, which no one else can do.
Yes.
Okay, but then
It's
doesn't
a little
that make
bit
him
of
not
a.
gay anymore if he doesn't
Okay.
turn back.
Checking check some of the archives.
This is such a weird conversation to
Someone
have.
basically someone put forward an idea of it's not gay if they completely and totally transform, but if they haven't, then it's still fucking gay. Also, if
Well,
there are
I
any
mean-
dicks involved, it's 100%
Yeah,
gay.
if there's more than one dick involved, it's pretty gay. But my point being is that if he wants to have a kid, and they don't have the science available yet in Naruto. At least I'm pretty sure they don't.
But still,
Look,
guys,
if it's magic shit, no one fucking
No,
knows.
No.
Actually,
let me fucking finish. Let me fucking finish.
Actually,
I'm pretty
Oh my
sure
God.
they do not have
I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna disagree completely on this.
intravitreal fertilization in Naruto.
I disagree. I think
Okay.
they do actually.
Who?
I think it's probable that someone like Orochimaru or Danzo has
yes.
developed something like that.
Yes, but they burned all that research.
Did
They
they?
burned it for a good reason.
Orochimaru was alive by the end of the series.
Yeah,
so is
but, no,
Kabuto,
but
who
you-
probably memorized all the information.
That's true. Kabuto's fucking dead. Kabuto's like
No, he's
hyper
not.
dead.
No, he's
No,
not.
yeah, he
He's
is.
fucking. No, dude, he's in a fucking orphanage. He's
What
back
the
where
fu-
he
wait,
used to
the
work.
fuck?
Yeah,
What?
look it up,
Did
bro.
Itachi like murk the shit out of him?
Nope, he's alive.
What the
Dude, he
fuck?
works at the old orphanage that he was raised at. Like, no cap.
I
swear
am,
to
I am going
Yeah,
to
Orochimaru
forge.
raised him to
Look it
diddle
up.
kids,
I am
and then was
going
like,
to forge a kunai. I'm going to learn blacksmithing, forge a fucking kunai made out of Japanese metal, and I will personally assassinate Kishimoto with it.
bro did
Okay.
Good
Pretty
old
sure
Hector
Kishimoto did it right
Bonsai.
there.
I will throw the metal 500 times.
You done?
Okay,
Good
Eric Cartman.
No.
Yeah, are you done making fun of Tojo and his accent? yet?
No. Soon I
I
will.
don't even have an accent.
It's in your blood. They should have
Hello,
dropped
Priest?
more than 2, buddy, is all I'm saying.
Damn. All right then.
Wow. You know
Good
what?
living in poverty.
You know what? I don't think we can stand this anti-Japanese racism.
I
Yeah.
agree, guys.
Doesn't matter. They
We
were
have to-
imperialists. They're white.
We have to put
We
the
can bully them.
Honduran in the camp.
They
I'm
weren't.
sorry.
Yeah, they were honorary Aryans. They were white.
I'm very sorry, but you are now going to Brazil.
We were white
No.
and shit.
Oh, hold on. Sticky here. Check chat.
Yeah, yeah, I know Kabuto's alive.
The
yeah.
Hinata image is so
oh,
good, though.
the Discord.
Yeah.
What the fuck is what the fuck? Okay.
What the fuck have I come back to?
What the
Wait,
fuck?
I got
hell.
the reaction
Kabuto
image for
feels
this.
indebted to Itachi for restoring to him his personality and where he belongs,
The fuck?
raising orphans.
The reaction image is so good.
What?
Fuck,
And
Stannis.
resumes his life of raising orphans. He believes it's vital to raise orphans and that orphans grow up having an identity.
Yeah,
Thank you for that one. Thank you for that one, buddy.
Orochimaru expressed his confidence in Kabuto's chance of slipping back to being an assassin is very low.
I feel like I need to delete.
Yeah, we gotta get some purge
everything. You like that one?
Stannis's first reply was definitely a all right, understandable. But I think some of the rest of the shit that Stannis posted is getting.
I'm just gonna start purging.
Yeah, just
Are
start.
we having? Is there some yabai in the chat?
There's. I'm gonna report you to the Discord safety team.
They'll like that. What are you talking about?
We're all furries.
Wait. Femboys, they'll like that. Furries, they'll like that.
I want to get on the good side.
Too much human skin for them.
Yeah, there's not enough yiffing for them.
Yeah, honestly. Wait, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't the actual like furry the actual Discord team like basically a bunch of furries?
No, not in their entire team, but there was a single admin on the Discord side that did in fact say that the images of humanoid, childlike animal creatures was not child porn because they had fur.
I will say, Arn, thank you for that one of Lil Nas X pregnant. That one's so good. Thank you, dude.
What the?
Did I just hear?
I removed that for the eyes of everyone in the chat.
You asked for it. You guys asked for it. I wasn't gonna do this, but you guys asked for it. I'm doing this now, and you can't fucking stop me. We're going to the Ruby section.
Oh
no!
Okay, sure.
Look at what you've done.
I have no emotional investment in the matter.
I'm getting a second glass of fucking
Do we go over some really fucking dumb pairing names?
Brown juice.
Cheers. I'll drink some brown juice too.
Arn, I'm gonna send you some of my reaction images so you can keep them, buddy.
Cheers.
Yeah, we're gonna pour some out. I am currently. Ooh, wow! I am 6 fingers into the brown juice. It's 130 proof.
Excellent.
I request you not.
Some of this is really awful shit too.
Yeah, this is some. Oh, you're talking about the reaction images. I was talking about the Ruby front page.
Some of these are real bad.
Yeah. How the fuck did you find these? What the hell?
He goes to places that people shouldn't.
There's
I mean, that's evidenced by all the trap stuff he was posting.
Does anybody know where who like Demon Mama is?
No.
And
you're not going to educate us. You're not going to educate us.
I'm okay with that staying that way.
Please do not.
If you attempt to educate us, you will be removed.
I'm sorry, Potatoes, but only you have the veto now. Everyone else has lost their rights to veto.
Have I lost my right to veto?
Yeah, you don't pay me money. You never had the right. Sure. Oh, you don't have the right. You don't have the right. Oh, you don't have the right.
Yeah.
Stop.
Jesus Christ.
Alright, so are you guys ready for your first gritty Ruby fanfiction?
Gritty?
Chris Yellows! A tale focusing on my OC, Chris Yellows! How is he rescued by Summer Rose and joins the Rose family, then goes to Beacon and tries to find his missing dad and maybe who Mom is?
Did you know who Chris Yellows is?
I think it's Chris Yellows.
Oh no, this isn't a shitpost account. Oh no, he has 219 stories.
Is that on the bingo card?
He's got
Scroll back up. I saw something.
Oh no.
Wait, 219 individual stories?
Zootopia, right there. I can see it.
Zootopia.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Is it Zootopia Abortion?
Might be.
That's the only good Zootopia.
What the fuck?
Oh god.
You guys know that comic?
He has 2 OCs in his profile.
Why? Alright, I'll send it to you. It's very funny.
No, don't don't send it to me, please.
I'll send it to you. It's so funny.
I can send you a Bondi Buddy virus. Don't send it to me.
Send you fucking zip bomb. Have fun.
I'll send you I will send you a file that will make your computer's CD drive open up constantly and force your computer to send you a message of "Feed me Seymour" at a random interval between the next second and 5 minutes.
That's a good one. What's your favorite so far, Arn?
I don't think I could say. I might just get fucking booted immediately.
What the fuck? Why is there so many OCs on his pro? What the fuck is Chris? Wait, hold on.
You want to guess his name is Chris in real life?
Probably.
You think his last name is Yellows also in real life?
Probably
Nah,
not.
it's probably something like marigold or like something that's a yellow color. That
Very
isn't yellow.
Anglo name.
Yeah.
It's 4 letters and it starts with a P.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh my god.
He's
hold on. Let me hold on. Let me audio.
Oh my god, yeah, TTS
audio
this.
input.
Oh no.
This should be called
Don't you dare.
Why?
TTS. And this uses the TTS microphone audio.
Okay, lads. I'm gonna have to head out.
Okay.
I'm getting ditched
Later.
out. I'll
Yeah,
catch you guys later. Bye.
I collect them, Arn. I collect them. That's why.
Why?
God.
Wait. Why is my audio not? Why does it say that I have an audio source, but it's not showing the audio source?
Stannis, you gotta find better hobbies, bro.
Shut the fuck up.
Anyway.
You do that again.
No.
Please don't.
So let's see. Let me bring up this program. It's called Giggle Type.
Jesus, that's a name.
That's her name. I just really want to put this in here because this is something special.
What she said.
And then I'll show. And then so you guys can all hear it. I will then transfer my audio to this.
We have to.
I'm still going.
Yes. Please stop.
He woke up in bed at 5 years old and knew his dad was busy researching Grimm. He got out of bed and did not hear his dad downstairs. He walked downstairs and saw Grimm and gulped, seeing his dad was gone and the door to his dad's home was destroyed. He saw his dad's bow and arrows at his feet and picked it up and felt his hands shaken as he fired an arrow and missed the Grimm. He screamed as